This demonstrates how to set up your model year 2022 Apache with a Pinpoint 3 envelope system installed. First thing we'll do is we'll come over to the wrench and we'll go into initial setup. In initial setup, the first step is to go to configuration. In configurations, most of the default settings will be correct here. We'll review those. Our task control mode is ISO. Our fluid control mode will be synchro. Product mode will be single. Your master switch source needs to be set to external. Your boom switch source will be set to none. Auxiliary input polarity is active high. Your VT update rate and display smoothing should be 100 milliseconds and enabled. In the next screen down, we have our nozzle spacing. If you have 20-inch nozzle spacing, you can leave this field alone. If your machine is equipped with 15-inch nozzle spacing, you will need to adjust this field. After that, you get the total number of nozzles. This is the number of nozzles that the Pinpoint detected when it first booted up. If this number of nozzles does not match what is on your machine, then you need to power down the display, go to the rear of the machine and see if you have a nozzle unplugged or something else going on. Get that fixed, come back, do a factory reset so that it can redetect the number of nozzles. Once the number of nozzles detected matches the total number of nozzles on the machine, which includes the fence row nozzles, then the factory reset and the boot up has detected the correct number of nozzles. The maximum task control sections should be set to the number of nozzles on the machine or greater. So if you have this particular machine has 51 nozzles on it, so this field right here needs to be set to 51 or greater. It can be set to 60. Whatever value is higher than the total number of nozzles installed on the machine. So this sets the number of sections that the task controller will control on the envelope. The next two fields, it automatically detects the VT and task controller and pulls those in. If you have multiple VTs, you can select which VT you want to run through at this spot right here. Auxiliary boom configuration is not active at this time. The next thing that we have is machine configuration, which in this revision of software is savable. However, we will complete our entire setup before we come into this machine configuration saving. And our fill station, even though you may have a fill station on your Apache sprayer, we will leave this field to disabled. The next step is to either hit the double back arrow to get back to the menu, and we'll go to VCM setup. You could also just hit the wrench and go back to initial setup and VCM setup. In here, you will see the total number of VCMs that is installed on the machine. It needs to know the VCM's position and orientation, just as Pinpoint 1 and 2 required. So it says you can have a maximum of 2 VCMs plugged into any CAN section. So this particular one has 5 VCMs, you can see, and all of the VCMs are labeled their corresponding number and A. If there were 2 VCMs on any CAN channel, you would have, for example, 5A and 5B. So right here we have VCM mounted in section 1 as VCM 1A. If the orientation was wrong, you can use the swap ends button down here to change the orientation on that particular VCM. If you had 2 VCMs mounted in this section, you would have a 1A and a 1B, and you would have the option above here to swap positions. So the VCMs have to be in the right orientation, or which way the VCM is mounted and the pigtail runs, and the right position. What order are they installed on the machine? After you complete the configuration and the VCM setup, the initial setup is complete.